Tails come in all shapes and sizes, either black, white or fair, from a horse's long tail which has lots of fine hair, to one like a poker with not a single one there, or even a short stubby one like a huge polar bear. As we each have a tailbone, then why not a tail? Long or short, very dark or even quite pale. But some mightn't want one, it could often be found, while others would say it suits them down to the ground. If people had tails, it may really be great. Would you like your tail curled, madam, or should it be straight? Might yours be bright coloured, or should it be plain? If coloured, you might need to dye it again and again. And you, sir, perhaps a thin tail like a rat, or a thick furry one like a large Persian cat? Well groomed, a thick tail could look quite a sight, but first thing in the morning, it might look a fright. And when you bathe or shower each other day, you would need to wash it and dry it, perhaps give it a spray. It will be as much part of you as a nose or an ear, and will need to be looked after often, never fear. You would then have to comb it or simply give it a brush, and shampoo it quite often, even if in a rush. Men's tails might go bald, or at least turn quite grey. Ladies could dye tails pale blue or henna, let's say. It might then match the colour of the hair on a head, for people are fickle like that, it has often been said. But whatever the tone, whatever the colour, it will still be an adornment, but never grow duller. Hairdressers would love them. They could then have the task of trimming or fluffing them. You'd just need to ask. A part down the middle with perhaps a bow tie, let us say, would make it look great in its own special way. Ribbons, bows, perhaps even a bright jewel would make a girl's tail look very cool. Yes, a girl's tail would look great when covered with bows. A boy's tail much plainer. Could be handy for wiping his nose. A young mum's tail could help a small boy onto a bus. It's a nice thing to do, and save lots of fuss. But where would he have it when he sits down on a seat? Would it droop down beside him, or just curl near his feet? Our chairs would have holes in for tails, we expect, or one tail might need to be held quite erect. Perhaps a pocket on an armrest, or at the side of your chair, to put your long tail in, forget that it's there. All of sportsmen and sportswomen too, footballers, hockey players, tennis champs. Phew! You might tread on a tail that saw someone scoring a point. But you might not like that, and put your nose out of joint. And yes, well, the children on the way to school, with boys rushing about everywhere while playing the fool. But girls' tails could be gently cradled over an arm. In that caring way, they would come to no harm. With a handful of groceries, a tail would be great for closing the front door, say, or the large garden gate. When leaving your car in the rain with a sigh, you could hold an umbrella to be sure you stay dry. When you jump into your car, you take good care of your tail. If it got jammed in the door, you would give a wail. But how safe with both hands on the wheel, it appears, would then become easy for changing your gears. A tail as stiff as a kangaroo's, which is one of the best, could be great to lean back on when you just need to rest. You can have a cup of coffee, perhaps read a good book. Some people may envy the cool way that you look. Tails could be soft like a squirrel's or spread out just a smidgen, like those you see often on a white fan-tailed pigeon. When folded, the cover slips down with absolutely no hustle, which then makes the tail look like an old-fashioned bustle. Monkeys' tails can be curled like a short piece of rope as they flash around the treetops while branches they grope, but the kangaroo's stiff tail is no good for that. It is there just for balance, hopping on the ground, steep or flat. The tail would be fine when cleaning homes as before. You could polish the fridge while you're mopping the floor. You could clean all the windows while vacuuming the mat. I'm sure everyone would be quite happy with that. Your tail will be handy when washing your car. A bucket of suds and a cheesecloth won't mar, but a big furry tail would be better by far in making your great car shine like a star. Now, an old singlet is fine when polishing your shoes, but your own furry tail would be easy to use. You could swish it about in no more than a minute. Your shoe then so shiny, you could see your face in it. Ah, yes, the tail would be handy for many a job, like holding a paint can while a wall you may daub, or hammering some nails into a fence with your tail, with both hands holding palings so you couldn't fail. Now to the weather. When cold and you feel like a wreck, a thick furry tail would feel great round your neck. What of your feet when you bed on a cold winter's night? Well, your tail draped over them would be such a delight. But what then of summer, when it's far, far too hot? A quick swish from your tail would help quite a lot. Even while sleeping, it could still wave around, making a nice little breeze to help cool us all down. When out at your garden, the weeds you could smother, using a spade to separate one weed from another. Your tail then at work simply digging them out, pretty quietly the while, and never giving a shout. And young lovers might sit with their tails intertwined in the shape of a love heart, their cares left behind, while the silvery moon beamed through the midst of that heart, and the couple declaring that they'd never part.